two, one. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Inside Movies Galore. My name is David Streggy, and here in the room with me, I have director Jeffrey Garcia. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, it is.
And why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got involved in filming independent films?
Well, I've been doing it since high school, since I was 15. My father gave me a handy cam,
Okay.
and I just started shooting. I didn't study film at all, even remotely. I just started kind of just shooting and cutting as I go, and kind of learned from there.
Okay. And where are you from, Mr. Garcia?
And Marcus, Texas.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
You're not the first filmmaker I've been on from Texas. So, why don't you tell us about your first project that you ever started filming?
Well, before I ever got my own camera, back when I was 12, I was doing a class project, and we borrowed some handy cams from there, and we had to do an assignment. So that was my first project, and it's unwatchable, as you can imagine what a 12-year-old could make.
Okay, and let's see. I think one of your earliest short films was with a pup, correct?
Oh, Terrence is I've been filming shit since I was like 15, but my what I consider canon is basically anything from like 2015, 2016 onward. So yeah, Terrence is one of the first ones.
Okay, and why don't you tell us a little bit about that project, and who did you work with?
Oh, well, that was the first collaboration with one of my main muses, Furley Travis. He was just someone. Well, Terrence was an idea I've had since high school, and I can never really get it made properly. And so a few years later, I run into him in town, and he's a pretty cool guy, nice, artist, freako, music man. And I'm like, you're perfect. So please, can you please be in this movie? And then from there, we just hit it off, and we've been working together ever since.
Okay, and what is Terrence about? Tell us a little bit about it.
Terrence is about a 42-year-old man who becomes quite enamored over a young teenage girl, and they form some type of romantic relationship, and it deals with that subject.
Okay, and where did you happen to film it? In Texas area around the time?
San Marcos, my hometown. Just filmed went around town and took a few. I think probably took like about a week of shooting. It was very quick.
Okay, and after Terrence, or before Terrence, which was your next film?
Well, before Terrence was Plush Bus, where I play a lesbian nun doing stand-up comedy. And after Terrence was Lamb Chop, which was my version of a romantic comedy of sorts, where, everyone's jacking off and getting stabbed and things like that.
And who did you use as actors and actresses in your films from there, like Lamb Chop? Who did you go with?
Well, every single actor is just someone in town that isn't an actor. It's just people I run into, or friends or family or coworkers. I kind of when I was younger, I used to write scripts, and I'm like, I can't shoot this, I can't get this made. And so if I run into someone, they look interesting, I'll come up with an idea and throw it to them and be like, hey, can you do this? And then sometimes they say yeah, and sometimes they say nah, and
Okay.
look it up.
You also have a short film project called, what was it, Whimsy, or?
Yeah, Whimsy and Hester.
Whimsy and Hester. How did you get involved with that project?
Well, I had just returned from Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania, where Terrence won Best Grindhouse, and I was really inspired and wanted to immediately start shooting something else right away. And so, I just came up with this idea about two conjoined twins, and we just started rolling from there, man.
So Terrence actually went to a couple of film festivals, eh?
Yeah, yeah. That was my first film festival award and submission and all that. Was Terrence, and so that one's pretty special.
Okay. And did any of your other short films end up at any other film festivals?
Yeah, well, when Terrence screened, it also screened with Plush Bus as part of like the Midnight Grindhouse block, and Whimsy and Hester screened at Whimsy and Hester screened at a few festivals, and that one won a few awards too. Um, where's some other Radio Candy screened at like screamed at screamed it screened at a Trauma Dance Detroit, and,
Nice.
also at Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania. So yeah,
Okay. And how has your short films been received by the public so far?
um, well, I've learned over the years that my films are a bit of a niche thing. I
Okay.
used to just kind of blanket throw, the movies into any festival, but I realize, festivals, they're very curated towards certain audiences, and from there, like I'll show my film to someone that they don't get it at all. They actually, in fact,
Hmm.
probably hate it and don't like me. But then, I'll show someone else
Hmm.
and they just absolutely love it. So it's kind of it's almost polarizing in a way. I think
Okay.
most of them are, but it's generally positive.
And where would you say that you get your inspiration? Like who has influenced you over time?
Well, as a child, I used to watch, Mel Brooks movies and read Mad Magazine, so I was already
Okay.
kind of warped by all of that stuff. But over the years, like Bill Plimpton cartoons and the Lloyd Kaufman directed Trauma films, and of course John Waters and Harmony Korine, all those type of people. Big,
Okay.
uh,
So recently, well, I know that City was I had seen City a couple years back, and then you recently told me about a feature film that you actually it's no longer a short film. You actually created a feature film, which is kind of exciting.
yeah.
Um, why don't you tell us a little bit about that project? First of all, what is the title?
Yeah, well, my very first feature-length film is called Henrietta and Her Dismal Display of Affection, and I shot it all from all of 2019 and finished it in 2020. But because of all the stuff that went on, I couldn't really screen it anywhere. Although it
Okay.
did premiere at a drive-in in Canada, which is bizarre but pretty
Mhm.
cool. And yeah, it's just about a family of rednecks and infidelity and movie making and bodily fluids. So
Okay. And who did you pool for your cast of miscreants?
yeah, well, I mean, just the usual people and some newcomers. Just more people I keep running into or keep meeting. But yeah, I tried to make sure that for my first feature, I get almost everyone that I've worked with. So you'll see some familiar faces if you've seen my other work in that one.
Okay. And tell us a little bit more about Henrietta.
Well, it's a comedy that's gotten some that I think Henrietta's gotten some pretty mixed reviews, but like mixed in a good way. Like one side hates it, one side really likes it. So um,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, we just won Best Grindhouse again at the Jim Thorpe Festival, and I had a short limited release on VHS, and that sold out pretty immediately, and so that's good. And yeah, I'm working
And
on a
you've had some other you've had some other releases of some of your short films too. What happened to you?
Yeah. Recently, well, a few years ago, my buddy Addict Ted, with his label Pecan Crazy Records, he put together a couple DVDs of my shorts as compilations, and we would sell those, and I ran out of copies of that, so I started making my own like print on demand bootlegs. So those are available on my website. So they're pretty cheap if you want to see them and own them. I know you like physical media, right?
Yeah. I just figured it wouldn't be a bad a thing to tell the audience where you can find some of your things that you can that you are selling, so that you can um, help get the word out. Now, you did say that you were actually working on a new project, correct?
Yeah. I'm almost finished with my second feature. So,
Okay. Is there anything that you can tell us about that second feature?
well, it's called Bubblegum, and it's about the
Okay.
world's greatest used car salesman. And it's just him trying to murder his wife and running away from cops and gangsters. And it's quite a ridiculous film. And it's shot on VHS entirely. So
Okay.
it has a real low
Sounds
fi.
pre- sounds pretty exciting.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, uh, if there were any moments from any of your films that you have done and filmed so far, what scenes would you take from each one of them?
Mm, well, what do you mean? Like on a personal level or for someone to watch?
On a personal level, being a filmmaker, there are obviously always like a scene or something like that that you can take from each of your films that you said, I really liked that shot, or I really liked that scene. What would be a scene from each of your films that you've done in the past up till now?
Well, I guess I can go in order. With Plush Bus, Plush Bus, the opening and the ending, I really like. I find those to be the best parts.
Okay.
Terrence, Terrence, the opening shots, and when his 15-year-old girlfriend tells him that she liked to suck his cock. Uh, that's
Mhm.
one of the crowning achievements of that film. And Radio
Okay.
Candy, the climax of the movie where Adam bangs Melissa Appleby. I think I did a pretty good job on that sex scene. And
Okay.
let's see here, Whimsy and Hester. Kind of the whole thing of Whimsy and Hester. That might be that one, and Terrence are like my favorite ones.
Okay.
I guess I really do enjoy the. I think as a filmmaker, I think as far as like comedic timing and framing of shots is when Whimsy and Hester finally lose their virginity. And it's funny. I think there's a pattern here that seemed to really like the sex scenes. Um, so uh, no, but yeah. There's certain moments where you're cutting and everything just kind of falls into place correctly, and everything works, and the timing is good, and the picture is good, and the sound and everything. It's just kind of yeah. It's
Okay.
just
Is there a favorite actor or actress that you've been able to work with so far?
man, that question's I'm gonna get a lot of messages after the interview with that question. Well, you have my buddy Brian Kennemer,
Okay.
who is not so much in a lot of my short films. I mean, he does make appearances. He played Mama in Radio Candy,
Okay.
but he's in a lot of my short sketches, and and for a while there, he was like my go-to. Um, he has a very striking image. Um, then there is Grace Marlow, who is the only professional actor that I've worked with, and every time she's on in my film, she knocks it out of the park. And of course, you got Furley Travis, who is like my I've heard him compared to as my Steve Buscemi from
Mm-hmm.
Owen Brothers. Um, Man, Bubblegum, there's a character in there named Rough Rough, and he's like this like naked stoner guy that lives like in a camper car truck trailer thing, and he's
Okay.
definitely one of the best actors I've worked with. It was very surprising because I think it was like his first time acting. There's a lot of first time actors in these movies, and some of them really kind of like surprised me.
Okay. Favorite character from any of your films?
Um, well, I would have to say his name is Lorenzo Goldstein,
Okay.
and he's in my new film Bubblegum. I think that might be my favorite character, and he's played by a young man named Christopher Paul Cardoza,
Okay.
and he's just like this homeless guy that drinks Mountain Dew and eats Funyuns all day, and he just talks about fucking midgets in Mexico and humps basketball. So he's a bit of a wild character, and I really like him a lot.
Okay. Once again, where can we find your films once again?
Well, you can buy my movies and find out anything else more about me on jeffreygarcia.com.
Okay.
And on my YouTube is Jeffy's Playhouse, which
Okay.
was something, back in high school came up with. And my Vimeo is, I think it's just my name. I don't know. I don't really use Vimeo that often. It's just kind of there to have.
Well, it's nice to have so that you can put your films out there and have people watch it.
Yeah.
Um, but thank you for coming on with me about your films and some of your thoughts and whatnot. I appreciate it. I think that's all the time that we have for today, folks. But definitely keep an eye out for what is your newest film that's going to be coming out.
Bubblegum.
Definitely keep an eye out for Bubblegum. And I do believe that you are going to be releasing Henrietta and her dismal
Display of affection.
sometime in the near future. So keep an eye out for that. So definitely check out his films. Make sure you give him some love. And thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you, man.
Alrighty.